This is
Just
YubTub
YubTub.
exclusive.
All right.
Nice.
Well, we should be yub-tubbing with the best of them any second now.
Dun, dun, dun,
I'm
dun. Yeah, I see
There
ya.
it is. Oh, we're live too. Hey, everyone.
And that's why I agree with Hitler. Anyway,
Oh,
welcome to the Windbreaker
yeah.
podcast, everybody. Slightly delayed. I had to scare together some things. But yes, I'm Yahtzee Croshaw. I'm joined by Marty Sleever.
Hello, everyone.
And by Sebastian Ruiz, a.k.a.
Oh, here we
Frost.
go. I love it. I love even my old teachers, the ones that just put their whole ass into it. How about it?
Ruiz.
That was some good tongue rolling.
Yeah.
Thank you. But we're not here to talk about people's surnames. We're here to talk about the Game Awards that were announced last week. Normally, I do a thing where I avoid the news for it and you surprise me with them. But on this occasion, I felt moved to check on what the actual winners were.
You checked them pretty quick because it was by the time our stream had ended, you popped into it just to announce that, Yahtzee, you're pretty good at predicting these.
Well, I was excited, yes. I mean, you know I'm not one to brag. Oh, wait. No, I am one to brag. And because of that, I'm now going to brag. But you'll remember several weeks ago we did our predictions podcast with Stephanie Sterling, where we talked about what we predicted the Game Awards winners would be. And I reckon I was about 90% right.
If I had the time, I was actually going to go check and see who said what on official standing and then do a big old tally. So
I literally do not
100%.
remember what I said. I just delete my memory after podcast, so I do not remember what my predictions were.
I kept mine like on paper. I don't.
That's good.
don't
Yeah,
Just,
today
just to rattle through them.
Yeah, go for it.
Well, I predicted Baldur's Gate 3 would be Game of the Year and would also be Best RPG.
Sure.
I predicted they would fob off Alan Wake 2 with Best Game Direction. And also got Best Narrative, which I
didn't believe you guys. Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't figure Alan Wake 2 would get Best Art Direction as well. I thought that would go to Super Mario Brothers, but never mind. I got the big one. I predicted Final Fantasy 16 would get Best Score, because it's literally the only thing it deserves an award for. And that Best Audio Design would go to Hi-Fi Rush, because the whole game's designed around it. Well, I said Idris Elba would win Best Performance, and I was wrong about that. They gave another one to Baldur's Gate 3 for that.
He was the only nominee who didn't show up as well. He just had the still picture there.
Yeah.
Which was funny.
Well, yeah, better shit to do.
Yeah.
But Games for Impact was Cheer, which is one of the only of those games I've played, but yeah, fine, whatever.
I've played the others. Yeah, they went for the Supreme race card. It was amazing.
We correctly predicted, I want to say, that Sea of Stars would win Best Independent Game. Best debut indie game was Cocoon, which I call a little bit of bullshit on, because that was an established creator, if not an established studio.
Pizza Tower fan base was very upset at that.
I'll bet. But I think I said...
Did they go looking for that? I couldn't see them.
I think I said it on our predictions podcast that the Game Awards doesn't really like graphically subversive titles. It doesn't like post-punk stuff. Or like pixel art stuff, like what's Pizza Tower is.
Yeah, Cocoon is very, very clean and capital A artistic. And
Yeah,
I love Cocoon, so I don't mean that in a pejorative way.
Yeah, but it is very indie game. It has the indie game vibe.
Yeah.
Best ongoing game, Cyberpunk 2077. LOL.
I said that was BS. No.
I mean, that's like one of the things we're going to get into is what is this show, and a lot of people are very mad at it, and I think for some good reasons and for some silly reasons.
Best community support, Baldur's Gate 3, whatever that means.
A lot of people bought it. A lot of people got excited. A lot of cosplay.
Well, it's been in early access. They've been building it with the community, which is why I feel like ongoing for Cyberpunk was BS, because they're atoning. They're not ongoing.
That's the atonement. That's a good category.
Armored Core 6 won Best Action Game, which I think we predicted.
It also won most robots.
I said Spider-Man.
I said Spider-Man 2 would win Best Action Adventure, and I was wrong about that because Legend of Zelda won that.
Yeah, Spider-Man got almost shut out, I believe.
I didn't think Legend of Zelda would win because the Game Awards doesn't usually like a copy-paste sequels. But then I remembered that if it's a vague genre category and one of the nominees is a first-party Nintendo game, they'll most of the time will go with that.
And the vaguest of all genres is action adventure, because that is 90% of games.
Yeah, and the other vague one, best sim strategy game, Pikmin 4, which I also predicted.
Little guys.
Best fighting game, Street Fighter 6, but anyone with half a brain could have figured that out. Best family game, Super Mario Brothers Wonder, again by the Nintendo principle. And that's about all we predicted. Oh, we also said The Last of Us will win best adaptation, but again, that wasn't really a huge leap.
No.
I think, I guess the point I want to make overall here is that this isn't me being really smart when I predicted a lot of this. This is the Game Awards being really fucking predictable.
Oh.
Well, really predictable, and this year felt like the first year that everyone was. I'm seeing the most people in the industry kind of speaking out and being like, "What is this show?" And like, what do we expect from this show, and what should this show do other than show a bunch of trailers and award some popular games?
Well, this year, more than previous years, they were really letting the advertising take over the awards granting part of it. I mean, they were literally like shooing people off stage so they could show more advertisements.
Not only shooing people off stage, but consolidating and running through 5 awards without having anyone go on stage. So they had Sea of Stars won best indie game. There was no award recipient or anything. Awards were just kind of scattershot through, and then occasionally when people did go up, they started the sort of play them off music within 30 seconds. And so you had folks like Aonuma from Nintendo for Zelda. You had the performers from Baldur's Gate. You had the Baldur's Gate team. You had the Alan Wake team being shooed off seconds after they got on stage. Meanwhile, if you are a Hollywood celebrity, you seem to have carte blanche to just fucking babble. If you were McConaughey, if you were Anthony Mackie, if you were Timmy Chalamet, if you were in Kojima's orbit, you had full rights to just commandeer the stage for as long as you want.
What happens if you keep talking during the music? Because I would have just gotten louder.
Does eventually a person come out?
Like, did you? I don't know if you guys saw the 95th Oscars, but they were going to have people from RRR jump on stage and dance you off if you went too long.
I remember that goof at the beginning of it. That was good.
That's just sort of the thing here, where it's like the Game Awards now, it reeks of an award show in its infancy, trying to appeal to a vast demographic of gamers. Like that's the big takeaway I got from the entire thing.
Well, it kind
but
of
I was
like
curious to see if somebody would
trying to appeal to a vast demographic of publishers and people who want to show their trailers.
Well, not just publishers, because you have to think, like, how many people don't even consider, like, oh, Baldur's Gate 3 isn't that much of a game, you know? Like, it is incredibly fractured. I think that's what gamers don't realize, that it is incredibly fractured. And even games journalists are fractured from the gamers themselves, because it's like, praise the developers, that's all we're here for. Meanwhile, it's like, yeah, we don't know these people. We know Mario. You know Bowser, you don't know Doug Bowser.
Yes, yes, but where else but at an award ceremony for games can one celebrate game developers? And it feels like there's pressure. Like you say, like everything else is about advertising and about pushing the brand on top of the actual human beings behind it. Surely this would be the opportunity to actually celebrate gaming as a place to work.
So this is an interesting conundrum, because the Game Awards in its current state has been around since, I believe, 2014. And then it was the Spike TV Awards beforehand. And it has gotten more and more popular every year. And every year it has gotten less and less about the awards and more about what are they going to reveal. Like, what first-party games are going to be there. Oh my God, Kojima's on stage. What is he going to show? And oh my God, here's Hellblade. And look, it's the next game from the No Man's Sky team. And so every year it is turning more and more into winter E3 in December, which is fine to have that thing, because I, for one, love E3. I get excited about games. And it is becoming less and less an award show. And I think part of it is because people don't want to watch an award show. And I mean that in a more general way. I want to watch an award show, and there are award shows I do watch for games that are voted on by developers. There's the DICE Awards in February. There's the GDC and the IGAF Awards in March. And those are developer awards voted on by developers, and those are more in line with when people say, well, this should be the Oscars of the games. The Oscars are voted on by a committee of their peers, just like those are, but no one watches those. Those are streamed and no one watches them. We don't stream them. So it's not just a problem, not just finger wagging at the audience. Like, we don't stream them either. So we stream this because it's got a bunch of fucking commercials for games people are excited about.
Yeah, like in the Wikipedia bit, I'm not sure which journalist was quoted as saying it was schlock, like a Super Bowl ad. I was like, people love the Super Bowl ads. Like,
really do.
that's the thing. We're again trying to appeal to prestige and development, but it is as much about the games. They even have it on their about page where they say, we bring together a diverse group of game developers, game players, and notable names from pop culture to celebrate and advance gaming's position as the most immersive, challenging, and inspiring form of entertainment. We strive to recognize those who improve the well-being of the community and elevate voices that represent the future of the medium. So elevation there, but it in no way does it ever say like, hey, yeah, we're gonna, it's all about the game developers and whatnot. I'm not saying it shouldn't be.
Now look here. If the Game Awards are boring, then that's on the way they're presented, not on the fact that it's just about giving awards to developers. I mean, sure, you could argue that maybe they throw in all those trailers and stuff to make it more interesting to watch, but this is our opportunity to sell gaming not just as a lifestyle, but as a career. This is to give the kiddies something to aspire to as they make their shitty Steam games that nobody plays.
But that's
I do.
Sorry, the Oscars, if we were to compare them, a lot of people thinking, it's just popcorn, right? It's a popcorn medium and whatnot. But that lets people in who get more invested to watch, was it Cannes?
The Cannes Film Festival. Yeah.
The Cannes Film Festival. That there is that sort of stuff. DICE will be sitting behind the Game Awards. If nothing else, like this thing, it's a big misnomer. Like, come on, this is Key 3. This is Winter E3, as you said.
Like, Jeff Keighley's just a dude. Like, he's not, like, he's just a dude who found a vacuum then people and found a space that people weren't, there wasn't a quote unquote Oscars for games that people were gathering around like E3. And so he just stepped in there, and his insistence on bringing in Hollywood talent, his friendship with Kojima, the fact that Timothée Chalamet presented Game of the Year, things like that. And it makes sense because he grew up, both of his parents were IMAX, like high-level IMAX employees at the IMAX Corporation. So he came up in the world of film, and I don't think it's not that he doesn't love games, but I think he knows that the way this show grows and grows is by having those giant Hollywood celebrities there, and by letting people know, oh, you can tune in to see the new God of War DLC and the next game by the No Man's Sky people, and what's going on at Nintendo and that kind of thing.
Well, have the Hollywood celebrities just have equal time for the devs. Have them staged together, being really awkward. Have Matthew McConaughey give an award, and then have like a really awkward conversation with Sam Lake for 10 minutes.
Christ alive!
That's what I want.
Why do you want the cringe-inducing awards?
God.
Well, Marty's arguing that we need the celebs. We don't necessarily need to have the celebs at the expense of the people who are putting all the work in.
I want to make it clear. I'm not arguing that we need the celebs. I am arguing that the reason Keighley leans into celebrity and reveal trailers as opposed to letting a writer or an artist up there speak is because that is what draws in more and more of an audience of normies, of casuals, because again, these award shows if you want to hear developers go up there and talk without a timer for as long as they want about the games they made, those shows do exist and no one watches them. Yep. I watch them because I have a head injury, but no one else watches them. And so, like, I don't know if there is a happy medium there, or if these other award shows need to like give into the dark side and pull something from what Keighley's doing to attract a bigger audience, so that DICE and the GDC awards are more popular. But that is the reason he does it.
There is a feeling amid high-level game development that gaming needs to be more like Hollywood. Mm-hmm. Something that I disagree with, and the Game Awards is doing nothing but encourage.
Yep.
See, I feel like, what do you mean like more like Hollywood? Dig a little.
They want to make like games based around just spectacle and third act big war scenes rather than innovative design. The fucking production of constant ghost train rides and gear grinders, rather than encouraging stuff that actually want to explore the interactive narrative as a concept.
And a perfect example is that new game Exodus got announced, and it was announced by Matthew McConaughey because he's one of the stars of the game. And he went on stage and he's like, "It's me, Matthew McConaughey, in a video game." And people are like, "All right, whatever." At no point did they say, "Hey, this is a ton of BioWare. This is like ex BioWare. Like the people who made the BioWare games you love are making this sci-fi RPG. If you loved Mass Effect, like a lot of the people who are responsible for the Mass Effect games you loved are making this game Exodus." And at nowhere at the Game Awards did they say that. They said, Matthew McConaughey, True Detective. He's in this movie. He's in this game. So that's where their priorities are.
I mean, the Oscars, like award directors, movie directors are big names in their own rights.
That's what I'm getting at, though. It's like the gaming icons. We're talking Todd Howard. We're talking Kojima as like baller as they can get. But that would still be considered like almost a B-lister in Hollywood. Like, we're digging so deep. Our gaming icons are Master Chief. They're Laura Croft. They're
Link,
Mario.
Yeah.
He ain't coming. There was a man named Bowser there. Like, that's as close as it's gonna get. And it's almost brings up this other thing where, like, in the midst of all the whinging, people were also like, "Can we get away from this auteur theory from Kojima?" And I'm like, in one hand, I understand. It takes many. It takes a village to make these games, sure. But that's also what gives you some security. Having an icon, having like this person that can go, "I'll do what I want to do." That's how you start becoming these icons. But like, it's a massive, too many things, and they all fight each other.
It's a big group effort. It's the same in films, but it's important that there's one person who's perceived to be like owning that property, and whether it's true or not, that they are like directing their vision for the property.
Because but for like the biggest.
Because that's the human connection. The alternative is committee design, and that just creates bland swill.
The biggest award of the night, the final award of the Oscars, is Best Picture, and that goes to the producer. So, and a lot of times that person is not the Scorsese, the Tarantino, the Spielberg, the person you recognize. It's the producer. It's someone who put up a lot of money. And I'm not saying a producer is not an important role in a movie, but the final award of the night is a lot of times a money man that you don't know. So that would be the equivalent of Call of Duty wins and Bobby Kotick goes up there, which no one wants that.
It's like Bob Iger showing up.
It's like Bob Iger showing up, exactly. Yeah, one of the funny things with me is I think there are some things. I watch the Oscars, I watch the Emmys, I watch the Golden Globes. One thing that the Oscars I think could pull from the Game Awards is I like the idea of them showing, not only celebrating this year, but showing what to be excited for next year. I would love it if the Oscars, during commercial breaks, instead of being random ass commercials, they debut trailers for big movies next year. It doesn't have to be a big thing on stage or anything, but while you're watching the broadcast, instead of, commercials for Pepsi and Coke, it's commercials for Dune Part 2. It's commercials for like what we think Oscar winners next year might be. Like, that would be cool. That's something that I think the Game Awards does well. I like looking forward and backwards at the same time.
Well, doesn't that create a sort of bias? Because if the Game Awards pushes a game that turns out to be shite when it actually comes out next year, the Game Awards are going to look very silly, as they often do.
They're not taking like an editorial stance on it, though. They're saying like, here's a thing that you might
taking a stance. They're giving awards, for fuck's sake. What's that?
No, they're not taking a stance. They're not taking an editorial stance when they show a reveal, because they don't know what the game is going to be. They're like, here's something exciting. Look at this.
Again, they give an award. They literally give an award to the game with the best hype.
Yeah, but that's Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which is fucking awesome, and there you go.
Okay.
I don't know if you saw Yahtzee. They showed Sid and they showed Vincent, and it was great looking.
I think they should
you kind of slipped off the point there at the end there.
Oh, sorry. That was my bad.
I think it could do with a renaming, if nothing else.
Yeah, because by being called the Game Awards, they give themselves, like, they've anointed themselves with an importance that I don't think they need to have.
Well, something kind of has to do that. Something has to be the big tentpole industry ambassador, the big thing where we all feel special. I mean, E3 kind of used to be that, but that's...
Is that not DICE?
Well, as you
Dice Awards.
say, they don't have like the glittery award ceremony that everyone watches for that.
Well, that's the kind of the issue there is like to be mainstream and also to be prestigious. Like you kind of
You kind of like
yeah,
put the effort in on your side. Yeah, I think I see what you mean.
yeah. So it's
You got
like
to put a bit
well,
more money into it somehow.
I mean, it's
yeah,
also
and it's easier to get the big Coke ads to foot the bill. You know.
it's also easier to watch for people to sort of have a say in every award at the Oscars because there were 5 Best Picture nominees, now there's up to 10, and that will take you 10 to 20 hours to watch. If you wanted to play all the Game of the Year nominees this year, you're in for like a 250-hour commitment between Baldur's Gate, between Spider-Man, between Zelda. Like that's why you saw this immediate gut reaction of a bunch of Spider-Man fans who might only have a PlayStation and only play 3 games a year, being like, "How the fuck can Baldur's Gate win?" And then they showed the thing from Spider-Man where Sandman thrown Spider-Man through some windows.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Well, that was cool, but like, what are you doing comparing these two things?"
I saw that, and there was an immediate reply tweet under it saying, "You don't press a single button during that scene."
Exactly.
You're literally not showing anything interactive right now. Yeah.
I mean, like that, if nothing else, that shows the demographic of it all. You got Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Marvel Spider-Man, Resident Evil 4, Super Mario's Wonder, and then The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. There are some people who only own a Nintendo and only played 2 of these games.
Yeah, those are all very different games, aren't they?
Yeah, so it's like there is. It's just a very fractured demographic. Even had esports and like content creator stuff. How many gamers who like Baldur's Gate 3 give a damn about League of Legends?
Hey,
Quite.
I don't care about any of those awards. Like
No,
I am the
nobody
person
does.
like I care about most. It's almost like the equivalent of like I don't know when the Oscars does like the best animated short, and I'm like, well, these look neat. I've never watched any of them, but I don't know. I hope that one wins because it has a cool dog in it. That kind of thing.
Yeah, like did you guys watch? It was Rami Ismail's Game Dev World or something. Like 2 days after, hardly anybody showed up for that, and it was like 8 different streams, all being translated into 8 different languages, and it was game developers talking about their newer games and thanking everyone and yada yada yada. It's just not mainstream enough. So that's the problem, though. Is like it's not. I'm not saying that high prestige gamers are trying to take the game awards for themselves, but all the other ones that are super about game developers and the awards are dying or have died off. And so it's like, let me on this boat and let me tell you how to run it. You know, is a little awkward here.
That's one of the
Maybe
funny
change
things.
your flag. You know.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Maybe that's it.
I see people keeping like, we need to make this more like the Oscars. And I feel like every time I hear that, it's people who do not watch the Oscars because anyone who watches movie, every year we complain about the Oscars. And we complain about the fact that the right movies aren't nominated and the right movies didn't win. And if you look back at the history of the Oscars, people like, Orson Welles, Alfred Hitchcock, Kubrick, Fincher, Spike Lee, Ingmar Bergman have never won Best Director. These are people who've never, some of the greatest directors of all time, were never awarded.
There's
and then at
plenty
the
of
same
years-
time,
there's plenty of years if you look over the Academy Award winners. If you go back like 20 years or so, the best picture will be something you've never heard of in your life.
or something that's like embarrassing now, like the King's Speech or Crash or something. And at the same
Speech
time,
is embarrassing.
it's compared to the other movies that came out that year. Like I think it'd be like Zodiac or The Social Network or something. I'm like, get out of here. Also, the Oscars every year is getting fewer and fewer viewers. Like Oscars in the 90s were like appointment viewing, and now it's like maybe I'll catch some clips of it on YouTube after. So
Well,
like as an award
maybe-
show, the Oscars are dying.
Well, maybe in today's economically tighter times, people are sick of seeing rich twats lord all their riches over us, and maybe more people would watch the Game Awards if it was a nice, simpler experience about human stories. About things we can get invested in, like rags to riches tales of indie devs making loads of money. How
Even
about
you
that?
don't like sad indie game number 5 of the year. Like you can only pull on heartstrings so much before you just give in twain.
I may not enjoy your sad indie game, but I will defend to the death your right to make your sad indie game.
Sure. In the end,
thing
it's
I
just
keep
an
saying is
entertainment
these
medium.
award
though.
shows do exist and no one watches them.
Yeah.
So I don't know what we want. Like I don't know, and I think everyone wants something different, and
Let me
that's
run it.
understandable.
Does anyone else think Keeley might have a little too much power here? Because like who
Yes.
runs the Oscars? Who forks that money? Who sets it all? Who does that? It's
don't
not
know.
Jimmy Kimmel. He's the host.
It's
Well,
definitely
the-
no. He gets paid. He just gets paid to show up.
The
And,
So, like, if
Academy.
something happens,
The Academy pays for
who
it.
is this?
Yeah.
Who is the Academy?
there is an
The-
Academy of Interactive or of Academy of Arts and Sciences. Like they have a museum
Wait,
in
what?
LA. It's just
They-
like
They do the
the
Dice
Academy.
Awards. What?
And the Academy is like they bring on new members all the time, and it's generally filmmakers, and they've gotten better because of it. Up until a few years ago, the Academy was like
Okay,
99% old white guys, and so
Okay,
they're finally
shush.
bringing in.
The Academy Awards, according to Wikipedia, are presented annually by the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, based in Beverly Hills, California.
Oh, okay. So what I'm getting at is if Kimmel does something weird and then he's gone, that's fine. You host. If Keeley does something odd, there's your host and your whole game awards. I feel like that's a little too much power, and to empathize with him, too much responsibility. You're trying to make everybody happy. You're gonna die from either God's curses or God's blessings. Just trying to.
Yeah, I mean that's why like being the person who puts it together and being the forward-facing host might be a bad idea, and that's why he never asked. He doesn't want to. People were like, is he going to say something about the mistreatment of devs? Is he going to say something about, Palestine? And no, he's not going to, because he wants to keep it sugar-free vanilla, so that when Summer Game Fest comes around and he's shaking the can with a coin in it, that FromSoft will be like, yes, we want to put Erdtree trailer there, and Nintendo will be like, yes, we want to debut the new 3D Mario game there.
Okay, this is interesting. I'm still looking up the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, and it was apparently set up by MGM in like
100 years ago.
1927.
Yeah,
like that MGM.
And apparently the Academy, like the Association of Motion Picture Producers, it was basically a union at the start. And it's now become this sort of big knobs of the film industry with like members from all the major studios. But, that's an interesting place to start. A union, a collective of video game professionals.
Who would be in your academy?
In my academy?
In your academy, Yahtzee.
I mean, should it be developers or should it be critics? Or should it be both?
I don't know, because the thing about unions is also like it does deal with populism to a sense. That's why I think there's so many developers and journalists with their pennies in a bunch. I think this is mostly a like really big insider problem, because my other friends who are not that deep into it are like, "Whoa, did you see? Did you see?" I'm like, "No, I don't watch them in general," but they're like, "Oh, that was awesome! More ads." If you're kind of pissed off, it's because like you want it to have more prestige than it really has. So
I think
don't know.
I think there's a lot of aspiration to be a game developer. There's millions of people trying to make games. There's a really low barrier to entry to doing it. There should be like a collective of game developers that anyone can enter if they've released a game. If you've put out a game on Steam and it's been like assessed by a small committee to make sure it's not, I don't know, like a gacha porn game or whatever, or something you farted out to steal money from people, then you can join our illustrious Academy of Game Developers, and then we all vote on the winners.
We should make our own ads or Game Awards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should make our own. We do make our own ads.
Yeah,
Great.
we do, don't we? Homebrewed.
Yeah, I mean, another thing is we were talking about the Oscars. It's been around 100 years. We're at the 80, 90th something Oscars, and the Game Awards has been around for fewer than 10 in its current incarnation. So it is funny that it does feel like the games industry is constantly chasing film, in that it is almost trying to look back at what film did over the course of 130 years and compact that. And go through decades and years and be like, okay, we're in the 30s now, we're in the 40s now, we're in the 50s, and so it's slowly trying to get there. Whereas, I don't know, I honestly think the like the film industry has so many problems with it that it is silly to me that games, which now make more money than movies on a yearly basis, are looking for movies to try to be like legitimized. Like, as someone who does this for work and who loves this medium, I don't give a shit about being legitimized. Like it has such like this imposter syndrome, or this like need for validation to be legitimized, and I'm like, if it's art, it's art. It speaks for itself. It doesn't need the pageantry and the sort of the festival of it all.
If art could speak for itself, you wouldn't need media or criticism, would you?
We'd have to get real jobs then. Careful.
Well, that's true, but at the same time, I think criticism. Darren just over the weekend put up an amazing piece, a written piece on our Patreon for those who for $5 or more on our Patreon. You can read Darren's incredible piece on what is the point of criticism, and the point of criticism is to sort of offer an external perspective on something and make me think about something in a way I wasn't before.
Yeah, what you're saying is we need criticism to create the culture around art.
Correct.
Which is what we are. We are the culture that surrounds gaming.
Yeah, but like criticism isn't there to validate in my mind. Like I don't need criticism to validate.
Maybe it's not its intention, but that's kind of what it does. I mean, just the mere act of picking what to review week on week is an act of validation.
Sure.
Not bad, yeah. I feel like it's more so. It's an elegant spot. This almost goes back to a talk of like, what is a critic? What are you looking for? And I said that like I wanted somebody with a strong sense of self, but also like a good writing. It's a side occupation. I don't think one validates the other. It's almost like who has the power. I think they work together, but not necessarily like we make the culture in any way. I always say the people make the culture. It just by its very nature, the culture is just the people, and you'll see what tries to reflect that part of the culture. That's why I think the Game Awards are where they've ended up now. And anyone who tries to have like a super high prestigious, we are art, we are amazing, shout outs to everybody else, good luck getting eyes into that. Like go watch the GDC, the Games Developers Conference YouTube, go by most popular, and it's kind of like, I wouldn't call it clickbait, but it's less about the prestige and more about just like, oh, how I've survived in this industry for 11 years without a hit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you know what we need? This is how this starts. We need to make a social network for just game developers.
Ew. Have you?
Like,
ew.
Like LinkedIn, and we could all just talk about game development all the time. Game developers and game critics, all right? Everyone together.
Is that just Twitter?
I don't. Yeah, like I know you don't use it. Mine's very heavily curated. It's so sad. No one is sadder about games than game developers and game critics. The happiest people are not here.
Well, maybe if there was a place for them to dump their trauma, more people would be aware of the problems that blight the industry.
It's Twitter.
It's called therapy. More
people need to hear about the bloody crunch problem and the things they don't talk about at the Game Awards.
Sure. I say
you should do it like Goodreads. If you go on Goodreads, like if you're an author, you can make an account on Goodreads, but you have to get like a testimony from your agent before they'll let you pass as the person you're claiming to pass as.
Mm-hmm.
So you just do something like that.
Sure.
So you have Goodreads, but for games, and then all the developers have like verified accounts.
I don't know. Those people scare me. It was an interesting thing. Like, there's an old video by Alana Pierce, who used to work at IGN, talking about the problem with games criticism at IGN. And it's not so. The thing is that the inherent bias is because you're a games journalist and writing for games, is that you start writing for your peers and what they might be interested in instead of like the populace. So I feel like there were some worthy complaints. Absolutely, you got issues. But a lot of it, I think, is just more an in crowd, so to speak, not gatekeepy.
Well, all hobbies will have an in crowd.
That's why we stay at the door.
Yeah,
I don't want to go beyond the gate. Keep that gate all you want. Like we're staying right out here. Yeah. So,
and enthusiast press will always, by its very nature, cater to the in crowd.
Of course, yeah. Let's offer solutions. We're not just old men who shake our fists at clouds. We make clouds at our asses. What would you do to either make your own or fix this one up?
Well, I just said I'll start my social media thing that's like game developer centric and build up a community there, and then start setting up an awards that community votes on.
Aren't you like very introverted? I honestly didn't think that you were going to go with the blackjack and hookers, but I'm here for it. Sure. Blue ski, or what's it called? Blue sky.
Blue sky. Blue ski.
Blue ski.
Our nice Russian social network. A lot of people are saying right now that they didn't know GDC and DICE existed. So one literal action item we could take is we can stream one of them. We'll co-stream one of them in the same way that we did the Game Awards.
Be the change you want to see in the world.
Yeah,
Hideo Kojima.
Wait, who was it that said bad game always suck or suck is forever?
Suck is forever.
Suck is
That was
forever.
Todd the Rod God.
I was thinking, like, you kind of, a little bit of that prestige, a little ooh and wonder can kind of go into it. Because Hollywood has this issue of, like, why do we care about Nolan films and all this kind of stuff? Why would we show up to Oppenheimer? Because it's just like a period piece drama and whatnot. But to hear Darren just go IMAX and talk about the camera and how it's a different experience and everything else and leaning into that. Scorsese was already in trouble for this, where it's just like cinema is like a theme park. And I'm starting to think he didn't mean that as a slur. But just like, yeah, it's an event. It's a whole thing that we got to go for. If we're not getting excited for it, why should anyone else get excited for it? So I think we need a few more posters and stuff. I'm like, oh, what are you looking forward to this year for us? The freaking Dice Awards, bro. I got my tie ironed and
go
ready.
out into the streets in major cities and collect Vox Pops. What game are you excited will win the Dice Awards this year? Just ask a passing tramp. See how that goes.
Just with a bindle over his shoulder and a hole in his.
Yes. Well, I favour Baldur's Gate 3. They will say.
Here's your 5, I promised you.
Yeah, I mean, it's also again the silly nature of having this thing at the beginning of December and having the cutoff be the middle of November and having some really great games every year. Undoubtedly, every year something comes out after the award cutoff that is really great, that should be talked about, and that won't be talked about, and definitely won't be remembered by next year.
Yeah, then again, it's helpful to see what the big studios do fart out at this time of year, because they know it's not going to win any awards.
Yeah.
Relatedly, I've been playing Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora lately.
You know what? It has some nice looking jungle in it. I watched Nick play for 2 hours. Great jungle.
Blue people look nice, yeah.
Oh, sure, it's nice to look at until you realise you have to pore over it looking for whatever exotic bits of the fucking environment you're supposed to be harvesting.
I don't stay for breakfast now.
This is a topic for another day. The whole time Nick was playing, I kept being like, you know what this could use? Some yellow paint. We could absolutely. This is like this game is a testament to why yellow paint is good.
I said that to him during Days Before stream. He's like, "What am I supposed to loot?" I was like, "We could use a little yellow paint, some highlighted tours here." Yeah.
Watch out for my upcoming fully Ramblomatic, which probably will be the last one of the year.
That'll be a good
Avatar.
time.
Before we will take a break.
Why did you say Avatar with the same tongue roll that you said Frost's last name?
Well, maybe I'm conscious, as an English person living in America, I'm conscious of the way that the English accent doesn't usually pronounce the R on the ends of words. Avatar. I'm going to get in my car, and I'm going to get in my car and go watch Avatar.
You sound like that. Just sounds like Ben Affleck talking about Avatar.
Yeah, he's like a Bostonian.
Yeah, but he's sneak his donkeys into it.
Well, I live in California, so if everyone says Avatar, I'm going to look in the mirror and then go and watch Avatar.
Sound like a pirate.
No. Yeah. Before wrapping up, though, I do think Game Awards needs to figure out what it wants to be, but I think gamers themselves also need to figure out what they want to be. You can't say, I want it to be like the Oscars. Don't be mean to Call of Duty. When if you listen, it was like the first 10 minutes, Jimmy Kimmel's just roasting everybody.
Yeah.
Calls, who was it? Seth Rogen and Steven Spielberg, the Hunter and Joe Biden of Hollywood.
See,
I'm like, come on, take a roast. Come on.
See, in these things and in personal relationships as well, being comfortable enough to roast something shows that everyone's close together and everyone's happy to work with each other. It's where everything's like tense and trying to not to offend anyone, like the Game Awards does, where you know there's a lot of behind the scenes tension.
Yeah, absolutely. Like that's what I want. I want if you're afraid of your developers that they're going to talk the entire time, make it like the Oscars that they all come up there with prep speeches. You know, I get what you mean.
Yeah, I mean, so that was the 30-second timer was, I think, a direct response to last year when Christopher Judge, who plays Kratos in the new God of War games, won for Best Performance and went up there and talked for 8 minutes. And I believe it was an award given by Al Pacino. And Al Pacino went up there very confused for a few minutes and then brought up Christopher Judge for 8 minutes. And so that was like almost a 15-minute segment. And it was funny. But the response last year, a lot of people were like, this went on too long. He talked too long. He went on too long. And so I feel like Keeley heard that and was like, point taken, and just went to the other extreme.
Yeah, I think he needs to, if anything, be an auteur himself and really like, this is what I want the damn thing to be. Because I've come from a community that appeals to the masses, and the games end up almost dying from that. You die by blessings.
You know what makes me laugh is I'm looking at the Wikipedia page of the Game Awards 2023, and apparently the award for Best Narrative was presented by Ed Boon.
Yeah.
the Mortal Kombat guy.
Known for
Yeah.
his narrative chops.
Yeah.
That's like Telly Savalas presenting the award for best haircut.
Ah, that was a great Telly Savalas joke. Oh my
Thank
god.
you.
We don't get that
Like
often.
anyone remembers who Telly Savalas is.
I do. He's in a bond.
No, not my
I will
generation.
say, usually the game that wins Game of the Year is of a higher quality, in my opinion, than the movie that wins Best Picture at the Oscars. Because we have, going backwards, Baldur's Gate 3, Elden Ring, It Takes Two, The Last of Us Part 2, Sekiro, God of War, Breath of the Wild, Overwatch, Witcher 3, and Dragon Age.
Yeah, those certainly
Those
do
were
seem to be better representations of good games.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
within-
Even if I don't play multiplayer games, Overwatch at the time, huge deal. Like that kind of thing. Dragon Age was the only kind of weakish one, in my opinion, but that 2014 was a notoriously weak year. So, shrug.
Are we ready to go to Super Chats? I'm bringing up the urn
Yeah, that sounds
Yeah, we
great.
go.
Remember, everyone, we
Good
are Second Wind is funded by your incredible support, both on Patreon as well as through your wonderful super chats on shows like this and all of
Yes.
our shows. So we really appreciate it.
Yes,
everyone.
on your Super Chats here and on Loudhailer, up to face. On Patreon as well, which
That's
we
beautiful.
particularly need to push because I think this week some free trials are ending, so we're expecting a bit of a dip there.
Yeah, but we have exciting things to announce. New show debuting tomorrow that I can tell you guys about, and some exciting news in the wins.
Oh, the second wins.
The second wins.
So go to patreon.com/secondwind group if you want to support. But until then, here's some lovely people who supported us with Super Chats.
Can you gift Patreons?
I don't know. Would we get money for
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, hell of a Christmas present, eh?
Yeah,
Give your,
Hey.
give your
Remember-
loved one a
Nick,
Patreon
can
is
you
second
gift
win.
Patreons?
I don't
Not
know.
us gifting Patreons. Can people gift Patreons
Yeah,
to other people?
people to each other. Look at that.
Yeah, like, nice thought for a last-minute Christmas present.
Yeah, you
Give
might get
the-
Oh,
like
Nick said you cannot. We can probably stop talking about it because we can't.
give them $1 then.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right, here we go. I've only got the super chats, so interrupt me if I miss any member chats or anything relevant
Will do.
in that area. Dale Mallows gave $5 and said, "Here are your silly $5 words: waddle, codswallop, and ragamuffin. I bet you thought I'd say wheelie fiddler, and you're right, I did."
I like ragamuffin.
You know, Dale Mallows, I bit my tongue rather badly on Saturday while I was recording my audiobook, and reading out that whole super chat filled me with agony from beginning to end. And I hope you're satisfied.
Codswallop. I've heard that before.
Codswallop.
Where'd-
That's
yeah.
a bunch of horse shit, right? That's a bunch of
yeah,
codswallop.
Yeah,
it's
but
a
I've
British-
watched something recently. that says-
It's a British colloquialism just for nonsense.
Hmm.
Ragamuffin, meanwhile, is a word for like a street child.
Scoundrel? Yeah.
Cat.
Hjorth87 gives a 20 Danish kroner and says, "Well, spank me and call me grandpa. I can pay again." Good job,
Congratulations,
Hjorth87. I'm sure we'll be seeing
Grandpapa.
more of you. Bear with me a sec. Darwin's Dummy gives $2 and says, "Mario got screwed. Usually that's Luigi's job."
Well, wait a minute. What? Wait.
They're
What?
brothers, you monster.
Stepbrother.
No, it's talking about like Mario Wonder didn't win anything, but that just shows
won
how
Family
fractured
Game.
it is.
Yeah, one family game.
Just
That's
Nintendo.
something. That's one prize.
Yeah. It was also, this was a very good year for games. In my opinion, all 6 of the games nominated for Game of the Year deserve to be nominated. Also, like 10 other games deserve to
Is
be
Alan
nominated.
Wake actually like that crazy? I've heard of anybody talk about, except for you guys, like me peers, are like Alan Wake is nuts.
The people who
Well-
finished it seem to love it, except for Yahtzee and stuff.
Well, that's just me, yeah. I found it rather pretentious.
Okay, see, if the writers are saying it's pretentious, then I was like, okay, we're good.
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
like a thing that puts its whole fist up my ass.
Well, as I s-
Hunter Roge gifted 5 memberships. Thank you, Hunter.
Oh, thank you, Hunter. Well, as I was saying in my review of Alan Wake 2, a work of fiction about a work of fiction being powerful enough to change reality is sort of inherently up itself.
Sure.
There's like fiction jerking itself off.
Isn't that Inkheart?
But- Yeah, and on top of that, Sam Lake casts himself in the game, which is up itself in an entirely different but still quite up itself way.
But at the same time, we have movies like adaptation, and we have books like House of Leaves that do that same thing and are lauded in their specific mediums. So
Dante's Inferno.
Dante's Inferno. That man loves speaking with all sorts of weird critters down there.
Yeah. Christians, not critters.
Oh, sorry. I get that too confused sometimes.
Yes. Well, moving on. Nicholas J.M. gives $5 and says, all in all, every awards show needs to go when it becomes so far up its own rear end. I just hope the Oscars aren't long for this world soon. Yeah, keep dreaming, Nicholas J.M.
There should be concerts, absolutely. Like if Lady Gaga's not going to show up in Flank and Sirloin, I don't care.
Frankenstein Sirloin?
They just release all the awards as a musical. Like they sing a song that's like to announce the award, and the recipient has to come up and sing a song about how thankful they are for the award, and then everything keeps moving along.
Yeah. Shooting out T-shirts and awards in the same.
At the same
gun.
time, the only thing people remember about the Oscars last year was Will Smith and Chris Rock. Was that this year? Was that the year before?
Last year.
Yeah, that feels like it was ages ago.
And like last TGA, what do you guys remember? Come on, be honest. It's Bill Clinton.
It was
the Bill Clinton kid, the literally last thing. Yeah,
the weirdo and
Al Pacino, because I like seeing him.
Oh, that's
Christopher Judge talking too much. Yeah.
That's what you want. You don't want it to be clean. Go on.
Well, it's the rough edges people remember. I keep saying that. Beneath 11111 gives 20 Swedish krona and says, for Toffee, woof, woof, Marty's bank account, woof. Have you noticed Toffee's in his little coat? It's finally gotten cold enough in Northern California for him to wear his little jumper.
Oh, look at that. Oh, you guys match.
You match.
That's adorable. Okay.
Pepper Blood gives €5.99. It says, here's another her message you wonderful folks can pass right on by. Loved last week's cold take. The long form was so good. Much love from Ireland.
Scared. They like the long ones.
You said a new. You have to keep going longer.
Now the next one's going to be like 2 minutes.
You need to specifically cater towards the Irish by making it very long and very, very depressing and full of black comedy.
Yeah, and sounding more and more like Terry Wogan.
Yeah. Although, where was I? Yes, Hjorth87 gives 20 Danish kroner again and says, Frost, deep dive in the Newgrounds era. When? Oh, now that was a time. That was a time when you could get away with a lot of shit.
Oh, yeah. We used to like bound off after school and come back as soon as it got dark. Oh, I feel like a lot of my love for games comes from Newgrounds, Flash games, and all that kind of stuff. That's why I'm very much like, gameplay. Where's the goddamn gameplay? This is pretty, but I want the game.
And don't forget the Flash animations. I have fond memories of my very early days of the internet. First watching a short Flash animation called Britney Spears Gets a Dirty Sanchez.
What was it about?
Well, it's incorporated a rather inexpertly cropped picture of Britney Spears and someone employing the usual method by which one administers a dirty Sanchez, Marty.
Yeah, look at that. Shakespeare.
They should have sent a poet.
Oh, look it up, kids.
I don't want to.
Googling it right now. I'm using Ask Jeeves to be period specific.
Pepper Blood comes back with €249 and says, damn autocorrect put her in that super hat. And then comes back with another $2.49 and says, super chat, damn it. Pepper Blood getting a little flustered this morning.
Wonderful.
Dower Dodger Esquire gives $99.99 US and says, say what you want about Christopher Judge's speech, but at least he got to speak his piece. And while not all speeches should be that long, the award recipients should be afforded their time to shine.
I agree.
They should like prep speeches beforehand and have them vetted. You know, if you're going to be so strict on timing, I think we could meet both ways here, because some of them were like in the moment, just like and maybe the English isn't their first language for some of them, so I could see why they were worried.
There's also a difference, but some people are just natural public speakers and maybe have been the figurehead of a company for a long time or are going through a translator, whereas other people are like really emotional artists who might not have a ton of public speaking background.
Who was that? I don't developer. She short hair, Japanese. She
Oh
came
yeah,
out for this.
for her new studio Unseen. That was the
Yeah,
developer
when
behind
she
like The Evil Within and
yeah, when she first come out, people were like, "Finally, some charisma," you know? Because you guys say what you will, but you're always saying, "So damn it, why do they always bring out like developers who have no talking skills whatsoever,
yeah,
no social skills at all? They're so awkward." So you can't have it both ways.
yeah.
I went
Yeah.
to the Webby Awards once, and the Webby Awards has got like 200 awards to announce. So at the ceremony, they have this rule where you're not allowed to say more than 5 words when you
What did
collect
you
your
say?
award. Oh, I didn't go up on stage. I
Oh,
was too frightened. But
yeah, you won, didn't you?
yeah, we won the Consumers Vote, People's Vote Award for Best Gaming Website. And we just had, I think it was Alex McCree actually. He went out, at the time and just said, Escapist magazine, we have issues. Lol. I
Clever.
wanted to go out and say thanks a lot, you cunts, but I was much younger then.
As time wants to do.
I think Stephen Colbert won an award, and his words were me, 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 me.
Very clever.
That'd be me too. Yeah.
Anyway, Zach Lawton gives 20 Australian dollars and says, "Why discount Baldur's Gate 3? The game of the year was a joke, but honestly, Baldur's Gate 3 is madness. To try and paint Baldur's Gate 3 as a weak game is a joke. It won 5 awards." Well,
what I
that
mean?
super chat was all
That at
over the
all
place.
throughout that.
Yeah, like Game of the Year was a joke, but it won 5 awards. So there's no merit to this. But under this spectrum of no merit whatsoever, it won 5 of them. 5 units of no merit.
Yeah, and we're
So
not
I'm like,
saying that the winners are a joke. We are saying that we're saying that the entire presentation has issues. So I don't think none of the games that won I have any issues with winning.
Hmm.
I'm just not that invested. Yeah.
Except for Cocoon winning Best Debut Indie Game, whose issues I previously stated. Alex Shubin gives $5 and says, "Only awards that matter are the CAC awards." Whatever they
What?
are, I assume from context it's something to do with Doom.
Yeah, Doom World.
Yeah, sure
Nice.
enough. Oh yeah, the trophy's a little cacodemon.
So
I
what
bet-
does Doom win every year?
Yeah.
Congrats,
I think
Doom.
it's probably for
30 years
Doom
straight.
mods. I think John Ramiro's probably going to win one for Sigil too.
That's
'cause
cool.
What the hell?
What
else
about
is
My
he
House?
gonna
Was
win?
that this year?
Um,
I don't actually know.
Oh, I remember
think
that.
so.
That was this year.
yeah, that'll probably win something if they have a category for that sort of thing.
The
I don't know.
Minecraft one.
Savage Grey Wolf gives $5 says, "I think gamers want there to be awards. They don't want to watch an award show."
No.
What do they want, Savage Grey Wolf?
If you do go by the populace, the gamers want games. Even as Marty was saying, this is
Oh,
the biggest industry. A lot
there
of that is mobile.
There should be an interactive game that is the Game Awards.
Oh, there you go. That's what they should do. Release a Game Awards
But who gets
game.
to make the game?
Keeley.
The previous the previous year's winner. So
What, like the
Miyazaki
Eurovision
making
Song
the Game Awards.
Contest?
Yeah,
I was
think
thinking
it's-
Jeff Keeley just so he knows what it's like to make a game. Like chain him to the desk, crunch
Oh.
away.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Send him to Guantanamo Game Studios.
They should make, most developers will probably just make something like the Stanley Parable or some kind of like walking sim thing, but maybe some developers would be creative with it.
I'd make a new match 3. Yeah.
Anyway, Zaratha gives 5 Brazilian real and says, "Being in the audience, in chat, viewers are keen on first the trailers, second the award winners, so they can flex their favourite games won. Sad but true. Salute." Well, I think
Yeah.
you're just speaking for yourself there, Zaratha.
I don't think so. As someone who
No.
was in that live stream, I think people
Yeah.
were far more vocal during the trailers than they were during the awards.
It was
The
in
awards.
was it in Good Omens where it's saying if you can't see the Big Apple in New York City, it's because you're standing too close. Yeah, that's how it feels. I feel like most gamers just wanted to see the games and whatnot.
Humane Shield gives $4.99 and says, "Solution: Kojima needs to slap Boppy Kotick. Live drama."
You know who's great? Kojima. You know who's great? Kojima. Oh my god, I've been watching that OD trailer over and over again. There's little secrets inside of Udo Kier's mouth. are letters, and I believe it spells out Atami, which is either silent or hill in Japanese. And people are like, he's fucking doing it
Oh.
again. He's not making
He's-
Silent Hill, but he's fucking doing it again.
Oh, he finally did it too. Remember, I was saying because Kojima is the film guy that makes games. I was
Yeah.
like, who's the game guy that
Who
makes
makes
films?
films, yeah.
We found
Peele.
Jordan Peele.
Yeah. I was like, oh, neat.
And even the door that they came out during their award, that was the door you wake up in front of in PT, and everyone's like, "What are you doing?"
Oh, that's
Kojima?"
funny. I love how they make Jeff sweat with this. Like, you're not going to bring more people out of that thing, are you? I'm on a timer, bud.
Resonance SD gives $5 Australian. Says it's 4 a.m. I'm binging Rogue Trader and relying on your robust discussion to get me through to sunrise.
Oh,
Good on you.
Warhammer.
Rogue Trader. I don't know.
Yeah.
Warhammer, top down, something.
Okay.
There you go.
Sleep Twitch gives 100 Danish kroner. It says, I think somewhere along the way, the games industry and Hollywood have become fully optimized at being an industry. It's tricky, I think. I mean, we also eat food. Should we watch the Yogurt Awards?
See, this is a good example because there are food awards, but it's only people who are too into it that are there, like me. So
Yeah, I mean, Michelin stars, that's a food award.
yeah.
Is there like a yearly presentation, like the Mishies?
I don't know.
I don't
assume
know.
so. It's really high class, isn't it, with the Michelin stars?
But I don't think it's like it's not like we have 5 restaurants and only one of you will receive a star.
That's the
right?
thing, though, is like you say high class, but it's kind of like it too is seen as arrogant and pompous because a 1 star is good, and 2 stars is great, but that's as far as food's going to get you. 3 is how well can you run and manage a restaurant,
Yeah,
and that's when
Isn't
people
there-
are like, oh, only 2 stars. What's wrong with you? You know?
Isn't there only like 5 restaurants in the world with 3 Michelin stars?
Yeah, because a lot of them are like, can you please take away the 3rd star? The expectations are fucking
can't do this
astronomical.
anymore.
Yeah.
Hey, here's a fun fact I happen to know. What city in the world would you say has the most Michelin stars?
City in the world?
Yeah,
Maybe France? No.
That's
Copenhagen?
not a city. That's a country.
Oh, it is.
Paris.
I think in Paris. No, actually, it might very well be London.
Copenhagen.
You're all wrong with all these guesses.
It's in England, I swear.
You
It's
can tell us what the
Tokyo.
answer is.
Tokyo
Congrats,
is the city
Tokyo.
in the world that has the most Michelin stars of any city.
Well done.
Oh.
Well, that might
Well
just
done,
be because of density of restaurants.
Sure, it is a very large city.
Does it go by like 3 stars as well? Because I know they have a lot of 1 star, and that's like on food cards.
Well, it's just
Yeah,
because
so
there's a
maybe that's
million
just
restaurants.
most-
You like turn a corner and there's like 9 down the
Sure.
next
Most
alleyway.
cumulative restaurants. Yeah.
That's cool.
Really quick, AXP Bubbles and Zach Lawton, welcome to the tip jar. Thank you both.
Alrighty. Taint Smack gave us $5 and says 2 games that I feel are conspicuously absent from the Game of the Year conversation are System Shock and Amnesia the Bunker. All hail the immersive shithole.
System Shock's been out for
No,
like
it's-
20 years.
I think he means the remake.
Oh, you're not allowed.
Well, Resident Evil
Yeah,
4 got nominated, so
No, I don't think the remake of System Shock was going to win anything. I mean, I guess Amnesia the Bunker might have deserved a nod somewhere.
yeah, I think those are both relatively niche. That's why we don't generally see racing games or strategy games nominated for Game of the Year.
You know,
we
someone a
generally
while
see
back-
things that are very playable to a
Someone
large
a while
audience.
back asked me what was like the scariest game this year, and I completely forgot about Amnesia the Bunker. Yeah, that game scared the shit out of me.
That was a good one. It was,
Yeah.
it was a decent year for spookies. We had
Even
Dead
on his
Space remake,
second,
Resi remake.
even on his second playthrough on stream with a pilot, he's a co-pilot. He was still a bit tense.
I still think scariest game of the year was Silent Hill 4.
Well, that's the one you played.
For all of us who played it this year.
Oh, okay, yeah. I've got a few.
Vulgar Display of Gaming gives $10 Australian. Says, best moment of the awards, Sam Lake's massive smile dancing with old gods of Asgard. Worst moment of the awards, the way too slow and dramatic Kratos reveal that led to not much.
Oh, the roguelike thing.
Yeah,
that
the
they
kind of
announced?
free DLC that's like a roguelike.
Sure.
one.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I did like the live dance performance. That was great.
I thought the live dance performance was wonderful.
Magnum Weight gives $5. Says, it's actually important to remember that the Oscars were created by Hollywood to try and get good PR for Hollywood after the Fatty Arbuckle scandal.
How would you guys feel if you
don't
was
know
known as
that.
fatty?
Well, maybe we should create the Gaming Awards in the aftermath of the Game Awards being shit scandal.
Sure.
Wow, his name was Roscoe, and I see why they call him Fatty.
Yeah. He's
Yeah,
also a rapist and a murderer, so it's probably fine that.
Why didn't they call him
They call
that
him
then,
Fatty.
instead of just Fatty? Yeah.
you know what needs to come back? Men with the nickname Babe.
Yeah.
I mean, that got retired with Ruth. Surely.
Yeah, I mean, is it? Well, you would have thought Michael Jordan got retired, and now all of a sudden we just got Michael B. Jordan. So it could just be Babe B. Ruth.
Yeah.
Baby Ruth.
Baby.
That's
That's
so
not even a
bar.
thing.
Fun fact: Oliver Hardy was known as Babe to most of his friends because he looked like a giant baby.
He did. He was. That's how I remember. He's the large one.
Yeah, it's just not in style anymore, is it? To be well baby faced. Now it's all about being chiseled. Like, how old's Chalamet? 14, and he's like super cut like a diamond.
14. It is funny how much he looked like the Game Awards kid, and he was presenting the last award. Like, he looked like him. He was dressed like. It was just very impressive.
And Pinocchio and Lies of P. Like,
Yeah,
it's a poke evolution.
Yeah, that's how you get your Charizard.
Zach Lawton gives 5 Australian and says, Yahtzee, any chance you can just drop an unfortunately no? I also say this truthfully, I won't use it or clip it. Well, there you go, I just did it.
AI training.
Didn't you say a lot?
This is why I've thought about setting up a Cameo account.
You should.
I saw
You can make a lot of money.
There's an XCOM mod with your sound bites in them. It's kind of
I've
funny.
seen that one.
Yeah.
It's cool. Robo Knob the Snob gives 59.99 euros. Ooh, deep red super chat there.
Thank you, Robo.
To say the awards are followed either as an E3 substitute or by players who want validation seeing their favourite game win. Speaking of validation, here's 60 euros I could have used to try Alan Wake 2, but I won't because I'm grumpy and want a physical edition.
That's a good thing to be grumpy about. The fact that they're not making a physical edition of that game yet is absurd.
Yeah, it would be nice if there were non-ephemeral ways to store games. You know, in case the internet goes down and we lose our entire history and all that.
Prankers.
I feel like if the internet goes down, that's like beginning of the end.
Yeah,
there's other worries that we've got here.
Yeah.
Oh, my games.
Like whether I could play Alan Wake 2 at that point is probably like taking a backseat.
Damn, I was
Am
almost
I
done.
still alive?
GPU gives $10 and says, I like my hobby growing as much as the next guy, but the more they try to boost popularity to make more money, the more money men get involved, and more money men usually means worse games / events. Well, the problem is, as we discovered earlier, is that you need money to put on a glitzy enough show to be able to get people to see it.
I think it's self-correcting, because if it gets too money-ish, then people leave. So then you have to go back to like, oh, what did people want? And it gets better before it gets better.
Showery Dow just gifted 20-second win memberships.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
You went out of order.
Like,
Yeah, it's madness.
Sparta.
You went off script.
thought we'd better acknowledge it while it was happening, I suppose.
Holy shit. I don't know what to do. That being said, I think that worry, I understand the worry that when money gets involved, there's more meddlers and there's more people who don't understand the art trying to impact the art. But at the same time, I think the indie space is as thriving as it's ever been, and it's only growing every year. This
like
year,
I said, such a low barrier to entry.
Yeah, we've had so many good games this year on the indie front. So many good games.
You just never know what these people want. Like, right, look at me. I have no beard because every time I grow it out and forget to shave, people are like, hey, look at that. 3 glasses, 3 beards. I'm like, damn it. There's no
Should we have like a rotating beard schedule? Who gets a beard every month?
You guys can keep it.
We can give each other James Beard Awards.
This is like a medically mandated beard.
Oh.
Do you have a weak jaw like me?
Yeah, if I shave it off, I look like my mum, and that's not psychologically viable.
Frost, you're the only one of us with a strong jaw. You gotta represent.
I chewed a lot of Big League Chew as a kid.
See?
Imagine I had like a very round head and a Herculean jaw.
Yeah, I have a big baby face.
Well, I have a weak jaw because I have such a vast and powerful voice box to make my voice so nice to listen to, and it sort of makes my neck jut out and sort of kill my jawline.
I have a weak jaw because I unhinge it to swallow mongoose every weekend. Have you guys ever seen a mongoose? Well, you can go to the next super chat if you want. We don't have to talk about mongoose.
They kind of look like ferrets, don't they?
Yeah, they're weird little guys. They are mean.
Ricky
They are not going
Tikki
down without a
Yeah,
fight.
they kill snakes.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, good for them.
Asg gives $5 and says rushing winners off stage but giving Sean Murray time to say their next game is more ambitious and has mountains bigger than Everest is shocking. Well, it won't, will it? The mountains will be very small and inside a computer.
I thought Sean Murray coming out and saying we learned our lesson. So instead of making an entire solar system or entire galaxy, we've made one planet that is the size of a planet. I'm like, you've learned nothing. It's great.
No, I mean, I think that's good. Yeah,
I think it's cool. I think it's
Overdo
great.
and then go back in. I saw the trailer. If it's anything like that, I'm like, that's pretty. I don't know what you'll
looks
do in
cool.
it, but
Looks
that's
like a Colorado game. I'm gonna wander around that world. Looks
pretty.
great.
Yeah, there you go.
Also, Memo. Well, thank you for joining Tip Jar, Memo.
Thank you, Memo. Physics Nerd gives $10 says, I think the Game Awards was mostly just ad space. I would love to see each nomination have a build-up as to why they were nominated, allow people to bask in their good work and let them celebrate. Well, is there enough time?
I think it could use better. I like when the Oscars it'll show a clip from a thing as to why it's nominated, or it'll put together kind of a sizzle reel about each of its best pictures. I think those are cool.
That's
Should do
neat,
more
yeah.
of those.
I like in-crowd voting, even if it is a gimmick. Like text GTA 555 and put in your nomination.
There you go. Yeah, but we'll see. Like I said, I'm very serious when I said we'll do a live watch along to either DICE or the GDC Awards this spring.
That's a
we'll see how
promise.
everyone feels. That is a promise. That is a promise I will actually keep.
And we'll glitz it up in some way to make it interesting to watch. Like, we'll all dress up in showgirl outfits or something.
Yeah, we'll all show our strong jaws.
Bajango gives $2 and says, Pizza Tower was robbed. What are your fave toppings? Ham and pineapple, of course.
Oh, nice. Oh, yeah, if not that, I'll take Italian sausage and jalapenos. Mushrooms,
That's
too.
a good one. Yeah, I like Italian sausage or pepperoni for meat, and then I'm a big onion and jalapeno fan.
Oh, there's a place near where I live that does a really good, like, idiosyncratic pizza. That's like 4 different kinds of fancy cheese, prosciutto, ham, and fig jam. And it's one of my favorites.
Yeah, yeah. Get a little sweetness on there.
Ooh. Look at my salivatory glands go off.
Resonance SD gives $2 and says, I only watch the best, worst, blandest awards. Well, we'll have some of those for you in the new year, I'm sure.
Ooh, very exciting. And then we had a string of gift memberships. 5 from Zach Lawton, 5 from Loki's Wager, another 5 from Zach, and 5 from Hunter Roge. Thank you guys so much. 20 gift memberships in a row. You mentions. Absolute mentions.
Look at all those memberships. Dimitri gives $5 and says, my issues with TGA is that it's just a popularity contest filled with fluff. As Yahtzee and Marty said last year, we need a cans for video games. Would you watch it, Dimitri?
We're gonna see. We're gonna put everyone's money where their mouth is this spring.
Yeah,
it'd have to be something like Terry Wogan's Eurovision or whatever it was.
Yeah,
you know exactly what I'm talking about. Where he's just taking the piss out of it the entire time.
Yeah, that was the joy of Eurovision for British people. It was always they always had Terry Wogan do the narration, and he'd just take the piss out of it the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
It was very British, ironically. Gildon Yittich gives $2 and says, did the final award winner look like Clinton Kid?
No, the final award presenter looked like Clinton Kid. It was strange. Yeah, Timothy Chalamet giving away that final award was pretty silly. Although he did, the story came out I think a few years ago that when he was younger, before he was like a Hollywood star, he had a YouTube channel that reviewed Xbox 360 controllers.
He made his own. He spray painted them, and he did 3 of them because his parents were like, "You're getting paint everywhere. Enough of that." So there were only 3 videos, and he sold them each for £10.
Fuck you, mom and dad. I'm gonna go act.
Another popular celebrity the video game niche audience can claim as one of their own, alongside Henry Cavill.
There you go. We have
Yeah,
two of them.
people were saying like it was weird seeing Vin Diesel with the Arc 2 promotion, but he was big on D&D.
Yeah,
And he had hands on with like the creative role of the Riddick games and stuff.
Yeah. That's why it's
Yeah.
like really hard to go, oh, this is what I'd like to see out of a games award without essentially being very gatekeepy.
Yeah.
That's why. Like
Robin
open it
Williams
to the
was
public.
Robin Williams was a big game apparently.
Yeah,
That's literally
named his
why he
daughter
called his
Zelda.
daughter Zelda. Yeah.
Mhm.
Anyway, I think he liked anime as well. Like if you see 1 hour photo, there's a bit where he gifts like some kid an Neon Genesis Evangelion action figure.
I was about to say, like, not based on that. So Robin Williams definitely strikes me as like a yaoi lover.
But which character in Evangelion was his waifu? We may never know.
Is Hook an isekai? Think about it.
It
Sound
is.
off in the comments
It is
below.
actually an isekai.
Well, he didn't die and get reincarnated in.
This is actually true.
Neverland.
Because he was from Neverland.
Yes.
Oh.
No, he was
He's,
from. He was
When
originally
dreams
from.
may come, an isekai.
He was from the
Earth
real world.
to Neverland, came back. Yeah.
Yeah, he was a baby, but he was like got taken to Neverland somehow by some fairies.
Double
And,
reverse isekai.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, Golden Yeti said gives another $2. Says, "Sorry, I meant the guy who awarded the final award." Yes, thank you. We figured.
Doing
And
himself.
Chalamet.
CJ Weigel gives $5 and says, "I'm several episodes late, but I like Papa Murphy's business model. You get the customizability of a pizza joint, but the convenience of a frozen."
There was a lot of one thing I learned, which we don't do a lot of revisits of topics from the previous week because I delete everything from my mind. A lot of Papa Murphy's defenders out there, so maybe we are the ones who are ignorant.
Yeah, I'm glad you're all happy. That's all I can ask for when it comes to pizza.
Also,
You're-
Pizzazz, please sponsor us.
Hjorth87 gives 20 Danish kroner to say, regarding the many Europeans, it's 7:50 p.m. over here. Yeah, we know.
Well, not all of Europe, right? Europe's got several time zones.
Not.
Do you know how tiny Europe is?
Yeah, it's not
It's
that
still
big.
got multiple time zones.
Yeah, it's got
I think,
like
like-
2.
Yeah, like 2 at most. Yeah.
Oh,
Well, it depends on how far east you go before you stop calling it Europe, I suppose.
Spain from Spain to
The Brexit line.
from Spain to Ukraine. That's got to be like three different time zones, right?
From Spain to Ukraine, coming to you, the Windbreakers podcast.
Awards. Yeah.
Also, Jeremy Morton gifted 5 subs over in the chat. This is a gift to Palooza. You know what this
Oh, yeah.
is? This is
Christmas.
the holiday spirit. People are just drunk on nog at 1 PM going hog wild, or 7:50 in the evening in Europe.
Snooze, you know,
Ukraine's not in the European Union, is it? That's why, like, Russia was able to invade it.
I believe so.
I have no idea.
That'll be next week's topic. That will not be next
So if
week's
you
topic.
if you keep it to the EU, yeah, you would probably stop a bit before then. Yeah, it's not in NATO either, again, which is why Russia was able to invade it.
See, 2 time zones. That's like
Sk-
one state in America.
Skillerboy333911 gives $10 and says, currently performing hard labour for my previous hot take. Would love to see you guys stream GDC stroke dice to further my penance and respect to the devs. Shooing off actual legends so Mackie can spaz out. Jeez.
Casey was not happy with Anthony Mackie. Casey
Neither was
does
I.
not like it.
I didn't watch it in the moment, but then I saw the Twitter and I was like, "Good God, Jeff Keighley must have shot someone or something with the amount of outrage." And then I watched it and I go, Mackie was very cringe-inducing, if nothing else. Very like we have Will Smith at home kind of vibes. Going,
There's
no, you
also
shut up
just-
now. Y'all shut up. I'm like, they can't hear you, bro.
There's also just some people who like when Keanu Reeves went on stage a few years ago and did the whole "you're breathtaking" thing to someone in the crowd.
yeah,
that was
at GDC.
wonderful.
Yeah.
That wasn't GDC. That was Game Awards because I
That's
believe
Game
that
Awards.
was when they were revealing the Matrix.
No, that wasn't the Game Awards. I was literally there in the
Was
the
it
room.
E3 then? Oh, it was E3. I think when they announced that he was going to be in Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
That
You're
was
breathtaking. Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because I think
that's
that was when they were like, and one of the stars of Cyberpunk, and he came out, and everyone's like, "What
That
the
was,
fuck?"
that
Where
was
did
the
he come
last E3 that there ever was that I attended, and I was literally
Damn.
in the audience when it happened.
Rest in peace.
You're officially breathtaking, and you both killed it. Good on you.
Yeah.
You're a breathtaking murderer.
But John Connor gives $5 Canadian and says, "So I wasn't alone in not knowing anyone in the Creators Award category then."
What was that?
That was the literal creators. So that
Yeah,
was
but-
I knew people make games. That was the only channel I was familiar with, and then it was several content creators I'd never heard of.
Oh, those. Yeah, no, I have no idea who those people were.
Yeah,
Are we still like number 2 in Apple Podcasts for gaming podcasts?
probably
Because
not.
maybe we could be eligible for a content creator award in the future.
We could have nominated ourselves for what is it? First class.
I think you got to be like under a certain age. So I don't know if Yahtzee
Y'all could have
knows.
nominated
You
me
can-
for first
You
class.
can. You're,
I don't
you're
think you can
spry.
nominate yourself.
You're spry. Also, Jeremy Morton and Smekisk Audio. Welcome to Tip Jar.
A superb owner, our old friend, comes along with $5 and says, "I keep not being able to find the way forward in Jedi Survivor. Does that game need more yellow paint or just clearer level design?" I think you might have mistook us for Google Answers or whatever it's called these days, a superb owner.
That was a problem in the first Jedi game, in my opinion, but Jedi Survivor
maybe.
seemed to clean it up. The map is much more legible.
I don't
map.
remember it being hard to navigate, not like in the way, say, Avatar Frontiers of Pandora is.
Oh, is that why you mean more yellow paint? Okay.
Yeah, it's very confusing. It's just we're not used to running around like dense jungles in games.
I am. I play too many of those. But even then, there's still like a line, I would say, depending on the experience.
Witticism gives $5 and says, "If you had to break action adventure into actually distinct categories, what would they be?"
Action and adventure.
Hmm.
Act, Ion, Ad, and Venture. Those are my 4.
I would break it really early
With an ad break, yeah.
after the first syllable.
Yeah.
Well, it's tough because we've never been entirely clear on what action adventure actually is. I mean, Souls-like is action adventure. Most Germany cockpit open worlds are action adventure.
Yeah, I would say most first parties Sony games are action adventure. I would say Zelda's action adventure. So I don't.
What would
Yeah.
be just adventure then? Because it's like ARPGs that
Secret
they.
of Bunky
an
Island is an
Oh,
adventure,
there you go.
adventure game in the classic
Yeah.
sense.
Oh.
Well, if you're saying if you were going adventure on the literal definition, it would be a game with an exploration focus, like a Souls-like stroke Metroidvania style design.
Would you say a Highland song?
It's like
Call
Journey,
that an
no?
adventure
Oh.
game? Is Journey an adventure game?
I still don't really get what you see in a Highlander song.
You should tune in to the inaugural episode of Bite Size tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Central, to find out. Spoilers, I talk about Lord of the Rings. 'Cause
What
that's
a
great
plug.
movie.
Gollum.
Gollum. I talk about Gollum. I do not
it-
talk about Gollum.
Is it just because Scotland is kind of an exotic place to you?
No,
is not
Japan is
exotic.
exotic to him. You're
Not anymore, because I played Ghostwire Tokyo.
Yes.
No longer
Alright.
exotic.
Because I probably my grandfather was Scottish, so Scotland is sort of like in my head a real place that's just full of like Glaswegians glassing each other.
Is
And
glassing
people-
just like hitting someone with a bottle?
it starts with hitting someone with a bottle and then doing another thing with the broken bottle you have subsequently created.
Oh, that's not good. Don't do that.
And they
Don't do that at all.
they have the Edinburgh Festival and they deep fry Mars bars and they put out TV shows where you can barely understand what anyone's saying. That's
We do that
Scotland to me.
I really appreciate a game that has a pronounced sense of place, and so that is something I think everyone has kind of weird, unique things that they weigh heavily when they're playing a game. That like if you do this thing, it's like an easy way to win my heart, and I think a pronounced sense of place is something that does that for me, both in movies and in games.
even if it's a real place.
Even if it's a real place, yeah. If you capture the feeling of a real place, I think that is still very, very impressive. And I think part of it might be because, especially in movies, everything seems so fake. Every MCU movie just feels like it takes place in a fucking backlot in Atlanta because every one of them is shot in a backlot in Atlanta.
Fair.
Also, there should be a category for puzzle game. It's insane to me that there's no category. for
Yeah,
puzzle.
I like the way Steam hands out their awards, where it's super itemized and super best game that made you sad, best game with a dog that made you cry.
That's what you need.
granular.
Like separate them by emotional response. Best game with like really satisfying traversal. Best game that made you cry. Best game that scared the shit out of you.
Best game with impressive looking fruit. Suika game.
Yeah, that's what we're going to do for our awards. It's going to be entirely emotion based.
Perfect.
Best game that made you attracted to the waifus.
Like
remember
hard.
that, I'm sure.
Best game it's hard to recommend to your friends.
Yeah.
Best game that you keep the controller nearby in case mom walks in.
Love it.
Pundabaya gives £5 says it sucks that the best fighting game award was a sidebar award in a marquee year for fighting games. Well, you
Agreed.
say that, but it's just that Street Fighter 6 was really good. So
Yeah,
you
but it
just
sucks
give
that,
an
like,
award to,
someone didn't get to go
to
up there
Street
and
Fighter
speak.
6 and move on.
But no one got to speak. It was just rattled off in rapid fire on the side stage.
This is why, like, even the fighting game community doesn't like itself, or like the Smash people like their own things. Everyone else who doesn't like the AAA is like Blaze Blue, and it's fractured.
It's still pretty niche fighting game.
What is? Yeah, I think so. Like, it amazes me that people play that just for the campaigns. That's wild.
Well, I play the Mortal Kombat campaigns because they suck so much, and I want to have a good laugh.
So that's why Ed Boon gave the award.
Yeah.
Just to spite you.
Valerian Dare, who has interrupted their busy schedule of space adventuring, to give us $5 and say, we need a less Eurocentric, more globally aligned award show. This award show felt like it was aimed at North American and European audiences exclusively.
I gave an award to Chia. How dare you?
Chia.
Chia.
Out of curiosity, like what games weren't nominated that should have been? That
Well,
would be mostly like mobile and gotcha games.
There were
Right?
plenty of Japanese games given prizes or nominated.
Gotcha games were there. Genshin won.
Yeah, Genshin won stuff last year. Elden Ring won. Two of the games nominated for 3 of the games nominated for Game of the Year were Japanese developed.
Maybe this is your inherent bias talking Valerian Dare. Maybe you
There's
should go
also
back
more,
and fight the Mekon some more.
There's always going to be the timing of this is American centric, and it's like, well, they have analytics. First off, it's filmed in America, it's shot in America, and second off, they have analytics for when the best time to air these are, and the fact is they can't air it at a time where everyone's awake. So having it be a time that makes sense for the U.S. and for Europe is the only thing they can do, even though it was really late for Europe as well.
Make it 24/7. That's what we do. We'd never stop awarding games. Someone help me. What was it? But the other thing too, there are award shows that aren't American and Eurocentric, and nobody watches those. Like, name a German award-winning game. I can, because I'm too into it.
Lula the Sexy Empire was the
That
only German
real?
game I could think of off the top of my
Oh,
head.
Isn't
Jesus,
Hellpie was
German
German? Hellpie was German.
Oh yeah,
remember
so
that.
it was.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
Did it
have
win
given it
anything?
an award because it was gross.
It got the German award.
Here you go.
Got
The
the-
grossest award.
It got the Yuck award.
The gross.
There's a lot of surprising amount of Polish games. It's like games funded by the Polish government or something. The games industry in Poland funded by the government.
Did they do that thing as well that England does? Like, for extremely English games, you get a tax write-off or something.
I don't see many English developers making the most of that. Where's my game? where
Suicide Squad's coming out.
Assassin's Creed Syndicate.
Yeah.
Well, I once hypothesized an idea for a game called Constable Blimey Chips, which would be the sort of British equivalent of the Yakuza games, where you play as a British Bobby who fights people with rugby tackles.
That's more British than We Happy Few. And that wasn't to begin with.
No, it was weird that.
Yeah.
If you want to see like a British game that feels like it was made by a very embittered British person, play something like Not Tonight.
Was that like with a K?
No.
No.
It's that game
Okay.
that was a lot like Papers, Please, but it was set in like a grim near future post-Brexit Britain, and it's feels very authentically cynical because it's actually British.
Yeah, you guys like to make your whole Empire Sucks thing, don't you? Leave for Vendetta. What was it? Sunday Gold. Every last bit of it.
Yeah, there's a surprising amount of media where the premise is the whole world has exploded except for Britain, which has descended into a fascist state. There's like 5 different things with that premise. Children of Men, V for Vendetta,
Did the world
1984.
explode?
In V for Vendetta?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the opening premise of that was that most of the rest of the world is like a nuclear hellhole.
There you go. I mean, that's a
just
good way to
announced,
avoid the like, what about us questions.
You know,
They just
thinking about
announced
it, this is very characteristic of Japanese media as well. Like I once made a joke that the standard sci-fi action anime is a small high-tech community that is isolated from a post-apocalyptic world that's constantly fighting off foreign monsters.
Evangelion.
That's
Attack on Titan.
That's like every action sci-fi anime.
Yeah.
Do you think Persona 6 is going to be set in Birmingham?
Yeah, island mentality, as Kebab says in the chat.
Did you say it was just announced?
There's a lot of comparisons.
Persona 6 is going to be set in Birmingham.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
There's a lot of similarities between like the British and Japanese mindsets, just because they're both island nations, I suppose.
I used to rule the world, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, where were we? Cedar George gives $4.99 US and says, "Love your work, guys. I'm a big fan of your books, Yards. Can't wait for the next one. Any book or author recommendations while I got you here?" I'll list off the standard ones: Douglas Adams, Terry Pratchett, P.G. Woodhouse, Jerome K. Jerome, G.K. Chesterton, Robert Rankin. Those
Dr.
are all the
Seuss,
authors that
any
influenced
Americans?
me.
What about Stephen King? That guy's great.
He didn't influence me much at all.
I don't like short stories.
He writes long stories as well.
Yeah, and they're
He writes
boring as
both kinds
hell.
of stories. Yahtzee, for shame.
I've never been much of a fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, G.K. Chesterton,
penny
The
horse.
Man Who Was Thursday. Really fun read.
I like me some Woodhouse.
I'm embarrassed by how little I've read over the last few years because there are too many. I'm a fan of too many things.
Yeah.
Like being a fan of movies and TV and games and fucking football, which I don't know why I am.
I find if you get stuck in that sort of mindset, the thing to do is just grab a random book you would never have thought to read and sit and read it. You might be surprised.
What'd you had? Christmas break. Christmas break.
There you go.
It'll be the summer, the Christmas of George. I'm gonna read all of them.
Like Curious George or
No, I was gonna say the Summer of George, which was a Seinfeld reference, and then I said the Christmas of George, which doesn't make any sense. I don't know.
Sure.
I don't know where I went there.
So small. Hey, grab the Witcher books. They're like quick short stories.
I don't even like the Witcher games.
The books are nice. I don't like. Yeah, go on.
Hectic FGC gives $5 and says, "If someone were to make a parody video of the Video Game Awards, it would just look like the Game Awards." Well, you know who you'd get to make that parody video? Devolver Digital.
It's a funny thing.
That's the whole thing now.
There was a Game Awards show done by gamers, streamers, Asmongold and Mizkif. I forgot what it was on the OTK network. And Donkey made fun of that because the whole time Mizkif's like, yeah, I played platformers, like was just struggling the whole time. And it's just this sense of anyone who chooses to represent gaming to that degree, you're gonna miss out. You're gonna get clowned on. You're gonna get flamed. There's just nothing you can do about it.
Quincy Martin gives $50.
Oh my God,
50
Quincy.
whole actual American ones. And says, "Came in late, but finally caught one of those live. Here's a bit of pre-Christmas cheer for all the years of great content." What are you talking about, Quincy Martin? Second Wind has only existed for a few weeks.
Oh my gosh.
Well, you're a self-published author of games. You've got years of content.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
true.
them.
Also, that's a good time to let everyone know. So next week, the 18th, will be our final episode of the year. We are not going to do episodes on obviously the 25th or the 1st.
Yeah.
We're taking a holiday break, but we will be back on the 8th.
There you go. It's just unfortunate that
sorry.
the two big holiday days happen to fall on Mondays this year.
Holiday days. And it's illegal for us to do the show on a day that's not a Monday. The cops will come and arrest us.
Yes.
And
Up in
B,
Christmas
welcome to
wrapping.
Tip Jar. Welcome B. Just a B.
Oh, I should speed up with kind of overrunning. Zach Lawton gives 10 Australian dollars. Says, did you all see that a European High Court has ruled that even digital games game be sold? No idea how this affects the industry, but seems monumental in gamer rights.
If that may have been physical.
Oh, like you can resell digital games?
Wait.
Is that what that means?
I don't know.
Even digital games can be sold? I imagine resold.
Yeah, I think his sentence got a bit...
Oh, that is, yeah. EU rules publishers cannot stop you reselling your downloaded games. Cool.
Oh, well, how would you
But how is that literally going to work? Yeah.
Yeah, how
I
would
can't
you
stop
do
you,
that?
but you're going to need their help in the technology, right?
It's all certificates, right? You just pass certificates around.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, C gives $4.99 US and says the true star of the Game Awards is Flute Guy. More Flute Guy.
Flute Guy was great.
Who was
He had
Flute
a very
Guy?
large flute this year. He's a member of the orchestra, the annual orchestra, and he gets really into playing the flute, and so everyone gets excited to see Flute Guy. And this year he played some sort of a very large, rare flute.
Did he get a flute solo?
He did. The camera's always on him. They're looking for that Flute Guy.
Give the fans what they want.
Yeah.
Escapist 2000 gives €5 and says, fun fact, if you order pepperoni in Europe, you don't get spicy sausage, but pickled chili peppers.
Yeah, that confused me the first time I got a pepperoni pizza at a proper Italian, and they came back with pepperoncinis. I was like,
That's bonus. I like pickled chilies.
So do I, but then if you were
I'd probably
expecting
like
meat.
I'd like them a lot more than pepperoni, frankly.
Yeah.
As Marty said, if you were expecting meat, that's a little disappointing.
I suppose.
Yeah.
That's why you get the meat lovers, I suppose. So you can have the best of both worlds.
Oh, he's afraid of mixing meats. That's a whole
I don't
different
like mixing
thing.
meats.
On we go.
Got to keep them
This
separated.
is like a biblical thing.
Yeah,
To mix meats.
are you a Mennonite, Marty?
Is that? No, I think one meat's enough. If I had a sitcom, it'd be called One Meat's Enough.
Well, anyway, Klaus M gives $5 and says the Game Awards is basically my Super Bowl. I view for all the trailers too, and make sure that my confirmation bias for my favorite games is confirmed.
Love having my bias confirmed.
If you like.
And then Urbanum gifted 20 memberships.
You're trying to beat
This
each other
has been
now.
A gifting bonanza.
Tom Schrader D gives 25 PLNs, Polish zlotys, I believe, and says, I'm putting my money where my mouth is, and I'll be watching the GDC stream. Good for you.
Good.
I'll try to
We're gonna
keep
do
it.
it. We promise.
Well, I'll try to liven it up.
I'll wear a suit and bring champagne. There we go.
Yes.
One of us will have a gun, and we won't say which one it is.
Just fires off. Hell yeah.
He said we have to liven it up.
Tsunami Dusha gives $10 US. Says, when the great Gonzo came on stage, did anyone else say finally a real celebrity?
It's so weird that Keeley is obsessed with the Muppets, and he loves getting Gonzo on stage, and he had a Gonzo bit that went on for like 7 minutes, and then they ushered off all the game developers. It's just very strange.
I think the Muppets is kind of a boomer thing to like these days.
Hey, he's about that age. Yeah.
I think they're kind of lost on the younger generations at this point, who don't have the nostalgia for like the Muppet
Christmas
Show
Carol. Watch a Muppet Christmas Carol. Best
or
version of the
a
Christmas Carol.
Muppet Treasure Island.
Ooh, it's Tim Curry. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Andrew Shug gives $5 Australian. Says, don't step on the landmine. Sorry, this is delayed. I'm in Western Australia. Yes, Marty.
What a great goof.
You know what? It was a learning experience for all of us.
I love it.
Yeah, tune into this Friday's Yahtzee Tries edited video to enjoy that. I'm sure amid several other fun moments from our Lethal Company stream.
Absolutely.
And whatever I'm streaming on Wednesday. I brought it up as a joke, but I kind of really want to do Disney Dreamlight Valley now.
Do it.
Oh, I'll go, yeah.
There's always Suika game as well. I don't want to say it, but it's
I
could
played
come
that
along.
on the Switch, and it's just fruit Tetris, and I didn't really get that attached.
but it has such a good sense of place, Yahtzee.
This feels like the produce aisle. Yeah.
Rascally Scramp gives $5. Says, first time catching it live. Woohoo! Now some silly words for you. Bingle, squam, flimmy, flam, slippy, dippy, squimmy, doo.
Those real words?
That was a song there.
Not bad. I think you needed better cadence, Rascally Scramp.
That was some good scatting.
Yeah.
Gibbity pop pop. Scatting.
Blue McDee's Nuts gives $2. Says, drunk on Nog, give me your weirdest game mechanic.
He is drunk on. See, I knew someone was drunk on Nog. Weirdest game mechanic.
I got one. It was like a sim manager type thing, but it was based on relationships. So really, even though it was trying to be very wholesome and matchmakery, it's just eugenics. So it's like, this is awkward.
This makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah,
I
it
don't want
makes
to be a
it
part
very
of this.
uncomfortable to play it, but
I
it
don't
was
wanna
very
be a part of this
wholesome looking. I was like,
Yeah.
wow. Yeah.
The DS and the 3DS had a lot of interesting. Some games had interesting gimmicks. Blowing on the screen. I'll always remember there was a Looney Tunes game where you had to close the clamshell. I think a couple games had things where you had to literally close the systems, and either it was like to turn off the lights in a room, or one was to like notarize a document that was almost like stamping it down, and then you'd reopen it. That was interesting. Think outside the box kinds of stuff.
I guess I will nominate The Missing, J.J. Macfield and the Island of Memories, and where you had to basically completely mutilate yourself in order to reverse gravity.
What? Like in game?
Yes. This
In
was the
real life.
mechanic. You had to solve platforming puzzles by sort of breaking every bone in your body and then sort of hobbling along on hideous,
Oh.
misshapen limbs.
That's like
Jason's doing-
handshakes.
And doing that made gravity reverse.
Handshakes. It was like a saw trap.
Ooh. No, those. I forgot what movie it was. It was a cult hit, Hostel, I think. So you can't leave unless you hurt yourself enough. I was like, oh.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't like that at all. And then Andrew Willems gifted 10 memberships. What is happening?
They
Something's in the
can't
water.
stop.
People have gone hog wild.
Stop. Keep it going.
Juampan gives €5. Says, hello, Windbreakers. Happy to get to see you live for once. Developers were treated like a nuisance. They had to get rid of Fast to show more ads and celebs.
They loved him. We
should
got to
see
see
how-
our Mackie.
You guys, I mean, it's pretty accurate to how gamers treat developers. If nothing else. You guys should see community manager threads.
Zach Lawton gives $5 Says, was you breathtaking? Yahtzee, you were there. Speaking,
You're
referring to Keanu Reeves' performance at the Xbox showcase.
You're
Yes, I was there, but my breath was not taken because I was at the back of the crowd in the space where they put journalists who obviously aren't going to look very impressed. And you might notice they very conspicuously do not point the camera at that part of the audience.
Yeah.
That's so good. Did they at least feed you guys in this corral or
No,
like no
just-
trough of Doritos?
no, it wasn't that sort of thing. They just,
It-
it was just a big auditorium. All the front rows were full of like big Xbox fanboys who'd all been loaded in like by bus, I assume. And then like the rear 2/3 of the room was just a bunch of gaming journalists looking unimpressed.
Rice. Yeah. If there's no food at these awards, I don't want to go.
Tower gives $5 and says, love the new podcast. Really hope nobody does something stupid like defraud a charity anytime soon. I'll go back to
Ooh.
your drama YouTube channels and talk about that some more. Tower.
Also,
Jeff-
Gerard put out a statement yesterday or over the weekend.
There's a lot of back and forth. I don't care to
Yeah,
get in it.
I
Yeah.
ain't touching that shit. Jeremy Morton gives $5 and says, that reminded me, love your books as well, Yahtzee. Thank you. I just finished recording the latest audiobook, actually. Finished on Saturday. Barring pickups, which probably won't take very long.
What was the best chapter?
So that should be out next year sometime. CC gives $1.99 US, says, Jeeves and Worcester is so fun. Favourite music right now? I'll tell you what I've been listening to over and over again is like the end theme music from American Arcadia. I just like it. It's a banger.
Yeah.
Have you get around to finishing that, Frost?
I did. Yeah. Very good ending, actually. I quite like
I
it.
did-
Wrapped it all up nicely. Yeah,
I said it was.
yeah you did.
He was
But
with
I also feel the way you did, where it's like good ending, and the rest of the game,
Yeah. But I think, a really good ending can, it's what that sticks with you. So, that can like make a game.
Sure,
So if
but
you're
it's
not
like a
sure,
4
so if you're not sure if you like the game, but it's got a really good ending, you go away thinking, yes, that was a good game.
I don't know, because I was like, in the amount of time it took me to finish this, I could have watched The Truman Show and The Matrix and the end of Iron Man.
Spoilers.
And no, because you don't know which one it is.
Oh, okay.
It wears it on its sleeve. Off we go.
Which Matrix ending was it? We don't know. There's a lot of Matrix movies.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I wasn't even talking endings. I meant like the beginning
Mm.
bit and the way it presents itself.
A superb owner gives $10 and says, what do you think about including more categories like best puzzles, best horror, best goofs, etc.? There could be more opportunities for a more diverse slate of games to be displayed this way. Well, apparently we don't need more awards cutting the speech time down even further. A superb owner.
Fewer Avengers.
Problem is, be inclusive or to be insulting. It's like, with the esports awards, but they ended up putting a coach that didn't even participate this year, so I would love to see best puzzle, best horror, but then you just end up with like then it is just a popularity contest where you go, I struggled to name 4, so I just picked the one on you.
Yeah,
so what can you do?
Rascally Scramp comes back with $10 and says, on the topic of games from non-American countries, Finland has a pretty huge catalogue. Alan Wake, Baba Is You, City Skylines, Fear and Hunger, Cruelty Squad, Noita, etc. Finland's been working hard.
Wow.
Same for like Australia, New Zealand. Yeah, they're popping off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Isn't Dredge from down there?
Yeah, New Zealand.
So. Yeah, you can. Alan Wake 2 was made by a Finnish developer. You can't tell. That was a joke.
That was good. That was a little sassafras.
Yeah.
And also Bucket List. Welcome to the tip jar. Bucket List.
Hey. Zach Lawton gives $5 and says, also, why wear a tie loosely and have a voice and mic like that? Reach your fingers into all of the studios and ask. Your voice is epic too.
What?
I'm not sure what he's on about.
Frost?
There's a lot going on there. I have a loose tie. We all have mics.
Yeah.
And fingers.
What?
I don't know.
I'm very confused.
And Bucket List gives $2 and says, are the awards a net positive? Well, it's good that there's some high-profile outlet that gains certain headlines.
Yeah, I said that during the thing. Like, there was a little behind-the-scenes kind of like doc about Venba. And I was like, it is nice that however many dozens of millions of people are watching this are learning a little bit about Venba and the making of it. It was funny that I believe it was sponsored by Old Spice. So that was kind of like a funny thing. Like, here's Venba, the Venba segment sponsored by Old Spice. But I think ultimately that's a net positive. If like Cocoon won an award and more people are like, I should check out what this game is because I don't know what it is. I think that's good, right?
See, if being the last man alive makes you feel like your chances of getting dates has gone up, then sure, I guess that's how it goes. Because the other game awards have just kind of died out. So,
yeah.
And Tsunami Dusha, sorry, were you still making a point there?
No, that was it. I was like, yeah, it's net positive, but in a weird way, sure.
Okay, we'll say this is the last super chat. So if you send any more, we won't read them out. Sorry. But we got to get moving. I got to walk the dog.
Rude.
Tsunami Dusha gives $10 and says, with COF and Todd Howard getting roosted by the Game Awards itself, do you think this may be a new trend of media to roast known devs publicly and loudly? Well, as I said, roasting shows that we're all mates.
Yeah.
It's good to show that people can have a sense of humor about these things.
The Oscars almost always have a comedian as a host, and they do their opening bit, and they have goofs along the way. That's why you see folks like Chris Rock and Jimmy Kimmel, and he had Ricky Gervais in the past, and yeah.
And that's until Will Smith.
It feels weird that they had Ricky Gervais on. I mean, does the Academy really like him? He's not really a film guy.
It was when he was at his heights. I don't know. Was it the Oscars? Maybe it was the Golden Globes or the Emmys I was thinking of, but
that was kind of when the invention of lying, wasn't it?
Yeah, maybe.
That film everyone remembers.
That was a bit shit.
Just a little.
Anyway, thanks for listening to the Windbreaker podcast. I hope you didn't scald yourself on any hot takes in the last couple of hours. I was Yahtzee Crowshaw. I was joined by Marty and Sebastian. And Windbreaker is, of course, part of the Second Wind group that puts out great content pretty much every day of the week. For example, you could enjoy my fully ramblomatic review this week, which will be on the subject. It'll be a double bill, actually. It's going to cover American Arcadia and Persona 5 Tactica, because they both end with A. There you go. That's the link.
Beautiful.
I've also... I'm going to be streaming a couple of new games in Yahtzee Tries on the same day, a Wednesday afternoon, and will be a compiled edit of that on Friday for you all to enjoy. I think that's all I got this week. What else we got?
What we got, Marty?
Sell yourselves.
Today you can check out Darren's latest backdrop video essay on Blue Eye Samurai, which is not only one of the best animated shows of the year, but just one of the best TV shows, period, of the year. Everyone should check it out. If you liked kind of Arcane, the animation on Arcane is similar to that, but an incredible revenge story. So check that out. On tomorrow, like I mentioned, tomorrow morning, we're going to be debuting Bite Size, which is kind of our expanded and evolved take on the 3-minute reviews that you might be familiar with, but in a more video essay format. The first one going up tomorrow is mine, and it is on A Highland Song, the game I talked about earlier that I only like because of a sense of place. Wednesday, after Yahtzee Tries in the evening, we'll have another episode of Firelink podcast at 6 p.m. Central with Nick, KC, and myself. Then, speaking of me and KC, at 7 p.m. Central on Thursday evening, we are rejoining our Devil May Cry journey. So we're starting up Devil May Cry 2, which everyone says, quote, this game sucks. So we'll see. We'll see if we agree with everyone.
Where it is.
Where it is. Not very good.
Well, perhaps we'll find out. Perhaps we'll see if it looks better from a retrospective viewpoint.
There you go. What about you, Frost? What are you dabbling on?
So yeah, for right now, you've got yourself 2 cold takes that you can go watch. It's the 2 older ones, as I'm working on the newer one that will pop up on the Monday coming, and we're also working on a lot of stuff in the back end. I believe we've already mentioned that we're working on a Stuff of Legends replacement, and then a few other things in the works. Keep your eyes out.
Yeah, we're gonna keep adding new ingredients to this stew. Don't you worry.
All right, and remember, support us on Patreon. That's what makes the sausage.
Delicious.
You can be involved in the making of that sausage.
Everyone loves working at a sausage factory.
You can be part of that sausage. You can be the discarded pig colon that is part of the sausage.
These are the worst pies in London.
Ah!
Well, I would normally do some Toffee time at this point, but Toffee has buggered off to stand next to the door and give me a very affronted look. So I'd better go and take him for his walk. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for hanging out.
Bye.